It's weird how silence messes with your head. 1 second you're alone. The next you're sure somebody's behind you. But when you look, nothing. That's how it started for me. It was just past midnight when I left my friend's apartment. We'd lost track of time playing video games. I didn't want to wait for a ride or pay for a cab. It was only a 15-minute walk home. I'd done it dozens of times. But that night, something was off. The streets were unusually empty. No cars, no late-night dog walkers, not even the usual drunk college kids. Just me and the sound of my footsteps echoing off the dark buildings. The streetlights flickered here and there, and shadows stretched long across the cracked sidewalks. The stillness kind of gnawed at me, you know? I tried to shake it off, but I kept getting this weird sense like something was behind me, watching. I glanced over my shoulder. Nothing. Just dark, empty road. Still, I picked up the pace. The sound of my steps sped up, but something felt just off. I slowed to a stop and listened for a second. There was nothing. Then faintly, I heard it. Another set of footsteps, stopping just after I did. I turned fast, scanning behind me, empty street. No one there. My heart started thudding a little bit harder. I told myself it was just my nerves or maybe an echo. I took a deep breath, stuffed my hands into my pockets, and just kept walking. I focused on the rhythm of my breathing, trying to drown out every paranoid thought, but every rustling leaf, every distant creak seemed like thunder in my ears. As I rounded the corner onto 8th Street, I saw someone under a streetlight just ahead, just standing there, not moving. I slowed a little bit. From a distance, it looked like a man, tall, wearing dark clothes, maybe waiting for a bus or an Uber, but something about the way he stood just felt wrong. Too still, like a mannequin dropped in the middle of the sidewalk. I looked down, pretending to check my phone as I got closer, hoping to avoid eye contact. But I felt it. His gaze locked on me, like needles digging into the back of my neck. I glanced up just for a second, and he was just staring directly at me. I don't mean the casual glance strangers give each other. This was like unblinking and intense. His eyes seemed wide, like too wide. I couldn't tell if it was the shadows playing tricks or if there was something genuinely wrong with him. I kept walking, trying to act natural. My legs started to feel kind of stiff. I didn't hear him move, but I could still feel him watching me as I passed. I quickened my pace a little bit. My heart began kind of thudding like a drum in my chest. I rounded the next corner and resisted the urge to run. My apartment was just a few blocks away. I told myself I'd laugh about this in the morning, but it's just it's just a weird guy standing around, nothing to it. But then I heard it. Again, footsteps, not far behind me. I spun around, nothing. The street was empty again. I didn't waste time second guessing. I broke into a jog. Every few seconds I looked back, but still no one. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was following me. I could feel it. When I reached the alley shortcut behind the laundromat, I paused. It would save me a few minutes, but I hesitated. The alley was pitch black, the kind of place my mom would have told me to avoid. I turned to check behind me. He was standing at the end of the block, just under another flickering streetlight, same posture, still just staring. I darted into the alley. Halfway through, I slipped on some gravel, caught myself on a dumpster. I cursed a little bit under my breath and just kept going, my eyes adjusting to the darkness. I just needed to make it to the other side. That's when I heard it. A scrape like a shoe sliding across pavement or maybe on that gravel. I spun, and he was there, just a few feet behind me, closer now. "Hey," I shouted, backing away. "What do you want?" He didn't answer. He didn't move. He just stared at me. I fumbled for my phone, ready to call 911, but my hands were shaking. My thumbs were slipping on the screen. The screen lit up and then flickered off, and he took a step toward me. That was all I needed. I bolted. Out the other end of the alley, down the sidewalk, across the street. I didn't care if I tripped, twisted my ankle, I just ran. When I finally reached my building, I didn't stop to look behind me. I slammed through the entrance, nearly dropping my keys as I fumbled to unlock the inner door. I burst into the stairwell, and I took the stairs 2 at a time. Once I got inside my apartment, I locked the door. The deadbolt, the chain. I stood there panting and listening at the door. Nothing. I went to the window, carefully peeking through the blinds. The street below was empty. I stood there for a while, waiting and watching. Finally, I stepped away, trying to calm down. Maybe I'd overreacted. I don't know. I don't even think I've even thought that. Just a random weirdo still? No. I left every light in the apartment on that night. Around 3 a.m., I was finally just drifting off on the couch when I heard a knock. Soft, slow, 3 taps. Coming from my window? My second-story window. The blinds were closed. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Another 3 taps on the window. A little louder this time. I crept toward the window, and I stood there, heart pounding in my throat. I didn't want to look, but I had to. I lifted the blinds just a sliver, and he was there, outside my window. His face was pressed into the glass, mouth curled into a weird-looking grin that didn't really match the stillness in his eyes. His expression didn't even look real, like something or someone trying to mimic what a smile should look like. But, without knowing what a smile was. I stumbled back, tripping over the coffee table and crashing to the floor. When I scrambled back to the window, he was gone. I didn't sleep. Not that night. Not for days, it seemed like. I filed a police report. They said they'd send a patrol around the neighborhood, but there wasn't much they could do. It's probably just a vagrant, they told me. Yeah, looking in my second-story window, right? But I kept seeing him. I saw him in reflections. I saw him in crowds. Just far enough that I couldn't be sure, Once I saw him across the street as I left for work. He was standing still, just like before, staring. I ducked into a corner store and waited about 20 minutes. When I came out, he was gone. Weeks passed. I moved to a different apartment. I changed my routine. I stopped going out late at night. But last night I heard it again. I didn't look. I pulled the covers over my head and waited for morning. I'm telling this story not because I expect you to believe me, but because if it ever happens to you, if you ever feel like someone's watching, if you ever feel like someone's just standing there staring at you, don't ignore it. I don't know what he wants. I don't know why he picked me, but I know this much. Once you see him, once he knows that you saw him, it doesn't stop.